Edward stared at the monitor as tears ran unchecked down his cheek, the immensity of his situation finally dawning on him. Unable to recall much of what had happened, he'd assumed the wild night out with a few friends had landed him in this bizarre predicament, but the email on the screen was telling a very different story. He closed his eyes, trying to remember the exact details, any details of the past few days. No, the past few weeks. He remembered meeting his friends at the pub and definitely having more drinks than he should have, but after that, everything was a blur. The next clear memory he had was being pushed out of a car, blindfolded, with his hands loosely tied behind his back. It had only taken seconds to free himself and remove the blindfold, but by then, the car had disappeared. Blinking against the glow of the streetlights, he realized, somewhat relieved, that he was outside his own house. Just as well, because his so-called friends had gone all out with their prank, dressing him up in full women's attire, complete with high-heeled shoes that seemed stuck to his feet. After a few awkward attempts to remove them, he gave up and decided it was better to get inside before anyone saw him like this. With no sign of his keys or anything else, he retrieved the spare from under the planter and let himself in. He went straight to the bedroom and stood in front of the full-length mirror. "Oh wow," he muttered. "They really went all in. Who did this to me?" Instead of his usual short blonde hair, he now had shoulder-length locks. He reached up to yank off what he assumed was a wig. "Ow wow, what the? Is this glued on?" He tugged again, but it wouldn't budge. Great. Just great. His makeup was intense. Professionally done, even. Thick foundation, perfect lips, and dyed eyebrows that matched the blonde wig exactly. The low-cut red dress revealed an unexpectedly convincing cleavage. He instinctively touched it and muttered, "It looks and feels real. What did they do to me?" He reached behind and unzipped the dress with some effort, letting it fall to the floor. Beneath it, he wore a long, red satin corset pulled tight around his torso, creating a dramatic hourglass figure and prominent chest. "This thing's actually reshaping me," he said, bewildered. "If I didn't know better, I'd swear I had curves." He fumbled for the laces behind his back, only to discover a flap covering them, secured by a small padlock. Seriously? How am I supposed to get this thing off? Staring at himself in the mirror, he muttered with growing frustration, "They better send the key. And when they do, they're going to regret pulling this prank." Looking down further, Edward noticed his legs were clad in sleek black stockings, and then he saw why he hadn't been able to remove the shoes. They were black stiletto heels with ankle straps, and those straps were locked in place with tiny padlocks. "It'd serve those pranksters right if I cut these things off," he muttered, tugging at the rigid material. But they weren't the soft plastic he expected. Instead, they were firm and unyielding. Cutting through them wasn't going to be easy. He gave up on the idea for now and carefully wobbled his way to the bathroom. Once there, he slipped his red satin underwear down to use the toilet, only to freeze when he felt the skin of his completely shaved crotch. "Oh no," he groaned. "That's going to itch like mad later." Shaking his head, Edward headed to the kitchen to make a cup of tea. As he passed the living room, he spotted a flashing notification on his computer, new email. Curious, he sat down at the keyboard and opened his inbox. Most of the messages were spam, but one caught his eye. One from Kim. "Let's see how things are going with her husband," he chuckled, clicking on the message. Kim was someone Edward had been emailing for a while under the alias Mistress Lash. Together, they had conspired to play a long-term prank on her unsuspecting husband, convincing him to wear lingerie and adopt feminine routines. It had started as a joke, but Edward had taken a particular satisfaction in the whole thing. He opened the email. "Dear Mistress Lash," or should I say Edward? Actually, no, that's not right either. It's Mandy now. Yes, that's the name you picked out for me. Oh wait, you've probably figured it out by now. This isn't Kim. It's her. How did you put it? Simple-minded soon-to-be feminized husband? That was it, wasn't it? Anyway, since you were kind enough to pick a name for me, I figured it was only right you take it. And when you finally get that corset off, you'll find it's been tattooed on your backside. I hope you like it." Edward leapt out of his seat and yanked down his underwear, trying to check, but the corset was too long and too tight to lift. Defeated, he sat back down, now far more anxious, and continued reading. "I bet you're wondering how I found out. It wasn't that hard. Kim isn't exactly a cybersecurity genius. She uses the same password for everything. So yes, I've been reading your messages for quite a while. And funny enough, I actually came to enjoy wearing the things she got me. Still do, in fact. She's gone now. I showed her the door. But me? I'm still here, quite comfortable." "Oh, and about your little plan?" "Nope, I never took the pills. I also never shared access to my bank account. That sneaky little scheme might have worked if I hadn't been one step ahead the whole time. And guess what? She doesn't get a cent of the lottery winnings. In fact, with your emails as evidence, my lawyer says I might even dodge the alimony." "Not bad, huh?" Edward's hands trembled as he scrolled down, uncertain what else this nightmare had in store. Something told him it wouldn't be good. "Now let's talk about you. Would you believe I've spent over $500,000 on your makeover these past couple of months? But don't worry, I won $22 million in the lottery, so I don't miss it. And judging from the photos I've seen, you turned out amazing. Let's start at the top. You probably haven't realized it yet, but that's your actual hair. It's a new process that combines microtransplants and advanced bonding techniques. Totally real, just needs touch-ups now and then. As for your eyes and lips, the color's permanent. Some kind of laser-enhanced cosmetic process. The nurses swore you'd look great in red and green tones." Horrified, Edward dashed into the bathroom and scrubbed furiously at his face with a washcloth. But the colors didn't fade, just like the email said. Permanent. Terrified of what else he'd discover, he returned to the computer. "Oh, and those lips? A little fuller now. They used a safe method, collagen, I think. And good news, you won't need to worry about shaving anymore. Lasers took care of that, head to toe. I'm honestly thinking about doing it myself. Shaving is such a hassle. About your body, you've been on a specialized wellness regimen for weeks. It's done wonders. And yes, part of that includes some enhancements. You're already showing some natural changes too, thanks to a carefully managed plan. Now before you think, I'll just stop everything and go back to normal, let me stop you there. There's a timed system in place, releasing a consistent dosage. You won't need to do a thing, it's all automated. By the time the course completes, your progress will be, well, permanent." Edward was frozen in place, reading in disbelief. "Also, in case you haven't checked, all your old clothes are gone. But don't worry, I left $5,000 in the bedside drawer. You're currently a size 12, with a chest size of 38DD. That might shift a little over time, so maybe hold off on spending all of it right away. Your fingernails? All natural. You've had a full month to grow them. Oh, that's right. You've been asleep for just over a month. You were sedated during the entire procedure. Probably why you're feeling a bit weak. But you'll bounce back." "A month," Edward whispered, panicked. "What about my job?" Then he looked down at his reflection again and realized with a deep, sinking dread. There was no going back. Not to his job. Not to his old name. Not to his old life.